Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a pretty short video. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that they're usually more fashion focused, but right now we are getting settled into an RV right before we move, and I'm still bringing my business with me. So I'm at the point right now where we're making a few tweaks so that we're a little more comfortable when we move in. So what is this video about today? We have an issue with the refrigerator. So behind me we have the refrigerator, and it has a freezer on top and a fridge on the bottom, just like in a regular house refrigerator. This fridge is kind of cool because it switches back and forth between running on propane or running on electricity, depending on whether or not I am plugged in. So the problem is I have basically a little freezer and a big freezer. I mentioned before that we bought this unit from Cruise America. It was a pre-owned unit. And when we went to pick it up, they bragged about how awesome the refrigerator was. It was nice and cold. And unfortunately, when we got it home and plugged it in and started testing everything out a little bit more, we realized that it was just as cold in the freezer as it was in the refrigerator. I went on Amazon and bought, you get a set of 2 different little thermometers that are for the fridge and the freezer. One went in the freezer, one went in the fridge, and they ended up being identical. So I decided that I wanted to fix it. I watched a lot of videos where people were going in and they were pulling the wire, and I'll show you in just a second. They were pulling the wire through, and then they were splicing in a new little thermostat for the inside. I don't have that skill set. Another reason why I decided to replace the thermistor entirely instead of trying to splice in a new thermostat was because they had cut it so short. It was, honest to God, like flush with the hole in the back, and you'll see that in the video. We are getting ready to move. My husband's really busy. I just want to get it fixed. So I'm gonna work on it myself. And I know this is going to be kind of a janky fix, so bear with me. I know there's 1,000 ways I could have done it differently, but this is how I did it. This little hole in the back, what should be coming through is there should be what looks kind of like a wire or a cord. It's called a thermistor, and it comes through the hole, and it should actually clip onto this metal part right here, and you slide it up and down in order to kind of like change the temperature a little bit and regulate inside the fridge. So we bought this at Cruise America. You know, oh, the fridge is nice and cold, fridge is nice and cold. Well, it's freezing everything in here because the thermistor, it looks like someone just plain old cut it out. So I'm going to replace it with this piece over here. So this is actually what should be in there that they just plain old just cut right out. So I'm gonna shut the power off so that I don't electrocute myself, and then we will go from there. So it was super hard to hold the camera while I was doing this, and then it was windy too, so I think it would have blown the tripod over. So I'm just gonna walk you through and show you some of the pictures of what I actually did. So the first thing I did was make sure that the power was shut off, because the last thing I wanted to do was get electrocuted trying to fix the refrigerator. So I turned off all of the power, and I actually used some craft wire and I pulled as much as I could. I pulled the wire forward and I wrapped it in a long piece of like craft wire, and I masking taped the craft wire to the piece. I went outside, I removed the big white cover. There's a little black box that contains the motherboard where the end of this actually plugs into. So this is the old piece that I had, and I pulled it through all the way through. So then I was standing outside with this piece with the wire that I had taped from the inside, and I was holding the wire on the outside. So what that meant that I could do was I could then take the new thermistor and I could tape it to the wire and then I could pull the thermistor back through the hole in the refrigerator in order to get it back into the inside of the fridge. So I did that. Then I unwrapped all the wire, all the masking tape, made sure it was nice and clean, clipped it to the inside of the fridge. I went back outside, and then I took the new piece and made sure that the new piece was plugged in correctly. And then from that point, I basically just cleaned up my mess. It was almost immediate as soon as I put the new thermistor in there that I started to see a little defrosting, so I did have to clean up. The hardest part for me, I think, was one, getting the little black box off the motherboard. There's like a little area where I just had to stick a screwdriver in and you pop it out in order to get it open. So that took a little finagling, but I eventually figured that out. Also, when I was pulling the new thermistor that was attached to my wire, when I was pulling that through the previous hole, I actually had to take a screwdriver and kind of try to fish for it out of the hole just a little bit, because it was going through a little bit of foam in the back. I know that fix might seem a little bit janky, but I mean, this is not gonna fly, right? So I wanted to share this with you guys because in order to get this fixed, I mean, the part I ordered on Amazon was about $50, and that included the whole kit with the clips. But in order for me to get this fixed in town, I would have had to unhook where I'm hooked up right now, and then I would have to go to the repair place. I don't know how long they would have kept the RV for, and then it's currently $160 an hour to even get your RV looked at to get any maintenance repairs. So hopefully this helps and it saves somebody just a little bit of money, but it's not stupid if it works. So I think it worked. Okay guys, so look, I think we fixed it. It is right, if you can see, in that refrigerated zone. Before, it was freezing everything so bad that everything was way off in that blue, the dark blue, deep freezer zone. So I would say that this worked. I hope you guys got something out of this video. I hope you liked it. But in the meantime, go forth, be kind, be creative.